Hi, I'm Julia from the Kreative Foundation, and I'm here today with the Gain Collective for Creative of the Month.
Hi, my name is Chesney Stanfield.
Hi, and I am Emil Peterson.
And we are Gain Collective.
Can you guys tell us what exactly is Gain Collective? For the people who don't know or haven't heard of it before, what is Gain Collective? What's your mission?
We're a choreographic and performance-based duo, so we choreograph all of our works together, whether that be our own choreography or on a company or a group that we're hired to choreograph on. And then also, we perform, when we perform underneath Gain Collective, it's usually when we're performing our own work. And that might either be a duet or it might be like a big group of people that we've hired, essentially.
How did the Gain Collective came about? What was the deciding factor that made you guys think, wait, we actually want to create our own company? Because I know you guys have danced in other companies before, right? And been involved in other projects. So what made you realize that you actually want to create your own unique forefront group, choreograph duo?
Gain Collective was actually built after when we were done training. And the idea behind it was that we trained together and we worked together and we started just creating in our break times, like choreographing together and stuff. And then eventually we're like, okay, when lockdown happened, we have nothing else to do. Let's actually just choreograph together. And then from there onwards, we had a almost like an experience of trying to figure out like our niche, our style, our like the way we choreograph and our whole like ecosystem and how we work together and stuff. And then eventually we were like, cool, like this really works out for us because we wanted to focus more on training and still choreographing and still kind of like executing certain movements and stuff. And from there onwards we got offered to choreograph a duo, which was actually called Gain. So so that work was a table work between the two of us, and it was a duo. And then from there onwards we like developed our the name for Gain actually to be that, because there was more about like you gaining experience out of every single thing you do in like dancing. Like in dancing. And then also it just kind of like helped us motivate ourselves to actually do other people's work also. Like it just kind of like works out well for us in a sense of like whatever spaces we walk into, we always like gaining experience, or we're gaining something 100%. Out of something, or like if we're giving something, that means we're gaining respect from someone else. And it's just like this whole exchange. So we kind of like created this name and then we developed it, and from there on we were like, okay, let's actually just do this thing, and started naming ourselves Gain Collective. And we started just working out with different companies. We were at Jazz Art. We choreographed our first professional work called Scorn back in 2020. Four? I think. Yes. Yes. 2024 we created Scorn, and then that was kind of like our first professional work in theater. And from there onwards we kind of like developed more, where we created a work called Discord in 2025. And then from there we just kind of like worked with so many different like people and different studios, different companies, different like spots in Cape Town.
The different like theaters, all the things.
And that's how we just like worked our way up.
We trained together from 2019 at Jazz Art's training program, and we trained 9 to 5 together for 3 years.
Wow.
And then we joined the company together for another 3 years, and we're working 9 to 5 together again. During that whole time, we would always choreograph together. We were very drawn to each other's movements, and before we were in a relationship, we would, meet up at break to work on choreography and film things together. And then, like Emil said, in lockdown, we spent such a long time just like working on choreography and videoing, and we both had a huge passion for it. And then spending so much time together, like our passion sort of just like intercepted and grew until we sort of found our own language that we had an amazing chance to develop for so long, because we were in the same space together, and we're always improvising together. We were constantly duet partners. It would very much annoy everyone. But we were like, we know when we
just
leave this
work.
place, we want to like do something together, you know? So we're going to keep working to like try and figure that out. But yeah, and then during that time, I was teaching a lot, and we started a few classes together, and then we eventually sort of bannered, instead of like me going to choreograph for the places I would choreograph for, we would go together.
Yes.
And we started developing that, and so we started getting hired as a duo,
Yes.
which was like before we developed anything. And then, like Emil said, we had our first piece on stage that was titled Gain, and was our first chance to sort of put our own work out there with the two of us.
Yes.
And then it like he said,
Just like
snowballed
yes,
from there until that is how we choreograph now. We do still get hired occasionally as individuals, like, which is fine. But in terms of like a professional work, we only choreograph together.
Cool. How do you guys manage that process? Because obviously it is quite difficult. Even though you've been together now for so long, so I can imagine you like know what the other person's going to say before they even say it. But how do you manage that creative process of coming up with choreography together? Is it kind of like you just improv to music, figure it out? Do you have like a set plan? Do you come up with a story first or a song, or does it change every time?
So it is different because what we are choreographing for often comes with different setups. So
Okay,
sometimes we might be hired to choreograph for a production that has a narrative.
Yes.
Whereas other times we're hired to just choreograph a work and we come up with it. But usually we search for music, and then we always feel inspired from music. We don't choreograph without music, which I
Okay.
know some people do.
Yes.
Which can be complicated. Like for our most recent work, Mantis, the majority of the music was composed. We had to work on composing it, so that
wow.
was very complicated
Yeah.
because we had to like constantly wait for the music to
Like
be
go
done
back and forward,
before we
yeah.
could like figure out what we wanted to do to it. We had to develop the narrative and the music first, which is very different. Normally we get the music and then develop the narrative from that. And then usually, we get the music, we figure out the narrative based off of what we feel like we want to say and like the inspiration from it. So we usually just sort of sit there and and listen to the music over and over again. And then like Emil might improv a bit. And then once we've sort of figured out the narrative, then we start creating.
Okay.
And the creation process is quite simple. We've been working together a long time, so a lot of it flows, and we bounce off of each other, and then sometimes it's sort of like slamming your head into a wall over and over again.
We've all been there, yeah.
And then just forcing something to happen. So we definitely argue a lot when we're alone.
Yeah.
But when we're creating in front of other people, we're very nice to each other.
Then it's like you have to keep it together.
Yeah, when we create and we've been slamming against each other, like our heads against the wall, or like we get like into this world where we start like getting kind of like irritated because it's almost like we're overstimulated by the music and like the
it's
pressure
like
and stuff.
all the things.
And all I need is just coffee eventually.
Okay.
And I'll be fine.
Good to know for any future employees. Just get them coffee. He'll be fine.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I'm more of the like Jason is more of like, let's get the work done. Let's actually do the task.
Yeah,
and
get
stuff,
what you
and
need
I like
covered.
just drift away.
Okay, I see.
My-
And then it's like a perfect match. You balance each
Like-
other out.
My brain will just go somewhere else, and I'll be like, okay, let's use like chains, and then Jason will be like, the story's not about chains, Emil. It's about something else, and I'll be like, okay. And then like 30 minutes later in the process, I'll be like, what if we actually use like a gate?
You're just creative. You just can't help it.
And then Jason will be like, no, Emil, the piece is not about the gate. It's about this specific thing.
yeah.
And I'll be like,
I'm the drill sergeant.
yeah.
But then that seems like a perfect partnership. Like you're able to kind of like keep it in track.
No, that's how it works. And yeah, I kind of like really enjoy, like it's so nice because she keeps me accountable for the things that I actually need to get done.
Yes,
and
yeah.
I'm just like this little whimsical human being that's just moving in the space that's just like, I would like to just create this in the moment.
No, but also, actually, sorry, I'm going to stop talking about this in a second. But also, Emil creates like so fast. So he'll just be like, he'll just do a series of movements.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, what was that? And he's like, I don't know. And then every time. So it's like I have to like figure out what he's doing because he will never remember it. So I like store the movement and he like there'll be whole sequences that are like 99% his movement, but he doesn't remember them. So I store it. And I'm like, I know what this is.
Analyzing everything. On that, with like creativity being like fun and whimsical and for you being more serious, like what is creativity for you guys? What is dance for you? I mean, I can imagine it is basically your whole lives at this point, but did it start as that? Was it a passion that you kind of only found when you were older? Have you always been connected to music and dance? Like, how did you end up here, if that makes sense?
We've both been dancing most of our lives, but in a different way. I've been dancing since like as long as I can remember in studios and, you know, in like jazz and modern and hip hop. But I never did contemporary until I went to jazz art. So when I was like 19. And but dance was always like the biggest thing in my life. Like it was my biggest passion. I knew that I wanted to do it full time. But obviously like the relationship to that has drastically developed. And yeah, I feel like when I sort of discovered contemporary, and as well as like Nathan and Kira Mannequin, shout out, they taught me since I was like 14, and they were always sort of my like, I was like
idols,
I used to describe watching them like being in pain. Like I couldn't understand why watching them was like it was like so inspiring, but it was also like you were mourning like something that you weren't currently capable of. So they very much like woke that up in me, and then going to jazz art and discovering contemporary and African contemporary was like, you know, like stepping into a whole new language of like exploration and essence. And then since we've started dancing together, like the passion for it just deepens continuously. So it's sort of, it feels like a coming home, and like, you know, you're always trying to move like what you envision, which is like a never ending battle because you're never 100% there. You know, you can always go further, but every step is also like very gratifying at the same time. And even like watching, like we watched Peaky Blinders together in the UK that Rambert performed, and we were just, oh my gosh, you know, and I feel like we came home and like our own movement language was like expanded from that, and how inspiring that was, I suppose. Okay, you talk now.
So how I actually grew up with dancing was I did a lot of like solos and like solo work myself. Growing up, never went to studios.
Oh wow, okay.
Never danced with groups of people at all and stuff. But eventually when I finished high school, then I started like joining crews and people, and like started getting used to the community, the dance community, like the hip hop world and the street works, like the street art and stuff like that. Really got like used to that. And in that community, and then from there onwards, I first danced with Antimative back in 18. Only danced with Antimative for around about 1 year, and then I got this opportunity with Jazz Out with the bridging program, and I developed work with them. So it was kind of like I was working with them and like training a little bit like in the bridging program, and then that was also my first time ever doing contemporary. I never a day in my life.
Insane. You guys are both so good.
Listen, I never did contemporary, but I was like trained in like modern and jazz and everything. He never did any. He only did hip hop, and then he went
crazy.
That's literally what I did.
Never too late.
You were like 21 at that point?
Yeah, I was around about 21 years old, and then eventually, what happened was when I did dance with jazz out more and more and more, I was like, okay, cool, like this seems like something I really want to do and stuff, and I let everything else go, and I was like, head first in, this is me, full, every single day, 9 to 5, you're just dancing and you're in pain, and you're like, you know what, you're going to become better and stuff like that. And then that's how I started developing myself. And I was like, I was very dedicated to this specific thing, and I was like, cool, like this is something I think that I really want to do and like grow in. And that's how I started to started doing contemporary and African contemporary and rhythm and gumbootting and like also started training in ballet and all of those things. Like you had to do all
Yeah,
of these
mold
different,
yourself.
yeah, mold yourself a little bit. And then now I kind of like really like look back at it and I'm like, can I swear?
Yeah, that's fine.
I was saying holy shit. But like I look back at my training and I'm just like, wow, like I was this person when like how many years ago, like 7 years ago, I was like this specific person. Now I'm a bit different.
Yes.
And I have my own sense of like uniqueness and my own
Yes.
style and stuff. So like going through that kind of really helped.
Wow,
and stuff.
that's
Yeah.
very inspiring. I think it's so
Yeah.
cool for so many people to know. Like, I feel like with creative industry, specifically dance, it feels like by the time you like finish high school, you need to be at your top, and like you have to be
Yeah.
already like ready for the companies, ready to go. But I think it's so important to remember that there is that stage of growth. And if you guys had to give any advice for like upcoming choreographers or dancers that are coming out of that space, what would you kind of say for them, or something that is a bit of a lie in the industry that's like, you don't actually need to think that way? Do you have any sort of pieces of gold for us?
If I have to say something, I would say whoever steps out of like high school or just freshly out of like studios and stuff like that and just want to go into a little bit of the professional world, I think you never stop learning. And I don't think that if you are professional, you are professional because you've learned everything and you have now this development stage where
Yes.
you are impeccable and
Yeah.
you are immaculate and stuff like that. You always see faults in yourself when you step into other people's worlds, and you should actually receive that person's world
Yes.
as a dancer, as like a learner, to actually learn from other people. And I would also say like development wise, like just be crazy, be free, be wild, and like even be yourself. Like if you are a person that's very quiet, that's you. Like you are a quiet human being. Be that.
You don't need to change.
Yeah,
to
you
suit
don't
the
need to.
industry.
Yeah, you don't need to change that. If you are a person that's very expressive and very loud, be the loud person. But also like try and think about like, okay, if I step into the room with you, I tend to match your energy also a little bit,
Yes.
because I don't want to overstep your boundaries
Yes.
at all. But it's also like me showing respect to you as a fellow creative or a fellow dancer and stuff like that. So I think like when you like don't feel shy, don't feel like you are not part of the industry. Even when you just step out of high school and you're just learning how to dance, like you are part of the industry.
Like there's a space for you.
Yeah, there is space for you, there is room for you to develop, there is a world where you exist in the arts and in the industry itself. So yeah, I think like people should really like start just being like themselves and don't stop
Yeah,
creating
keep
and don't
moving.
stop like pushing and don't
Yeah.
stop like just don't be stuck.
We're very big on training, and being like hungry for what you're doing. Like as Emil mentioned, trying to be in as many spaces as you can and be soaking up as much as possible. I think in dance, it's very easy to get sort of cut off by your genre and by
Yes.
like your community. So like if you're a contemporary dancer, you only go to the artscape to watch shows,
Yes.
or
yeah.
to like other, certain contemporary companies. Like you don't go to the ballet, or you don't go into the hip hop world, and you don't go to workshops. Like you only go to morning class, Like I feel personally like so much of what we've received from the dance world is because we put ourselves in so many different environments, even if it's not necessarily like our greatest strength. Like our greatest strength might be a different style, but there's so many there's so many teachers and choreographers we look up to, and we try so hard to be where they are to receive from them.
Yes.
And I feel like that helps us grow, and it's something that I think is so valuable for the entire dance community, to just put yourself in situations in where people you want to learn from are, even if
Yes.
it's outside of your normal comfort zone, and like push yourself to do things you might not normally do. And it does mean that you're very overworked a lot of the time. You know what I mean? But that can be, it's also such a blessing. So I feel like so much of the insanity of our training years with like 9 to 5 in one space dancing and then after hours teaching and going to workshops and stuff, it really led to like everything that we're experiencing now. And so many of the relationships, all of that wouldn't have been possible if we didn't like go to that class or go to that person's workshop or go to that person's show. Go to people's shows. Everyone, they will always remember if you go to their show. Like every person, like us included, you always remember who came to support you. And it's obviously not possible for us to go to everyone's, but we do, like, it's something we try very hard to do. Just to support each other. Like, you're always going to have inspiration from someone else's show, but also just to like be there.
The industry is small.
I
like,
support you. Like, it's
100%.
amazing what you're trying to do. So yeah, like, that's all I have to say about that.
I mean, I think perspective affects everything in art. Like, the more you experience and the more you learn, the more you guys can create. And I mean, I assume it's difficult because you guys have learned so many styles and covered so many things. Is there a sort of style or specific, like, unique genre that you guys would place the Gain Collective in, or do you feel like you cover like a more broad spectrum? Is there a specific message that you're trying to get across with Gain Collective in terms of like a choreographic style, or are you like, give us everything, we just want to play, like we'll do anything?
We're definitely contemporary company, but our, you know, contemporary influence and version of that does pull from multiple genres. So we have a lot of hip hop influence, and we have a lot of African influence, and some neoclassical influence. But I would definitely say contemporary. We do choreograph in other styles, but like if we're talking about like what we do in the work that we're passionate about and what we want to put out there is like contemporary all the way.
What is the dream project or goal with the Gain Collective? Like, if you could have all the funds, all the dancers, everything you could ever dream, what is like a dream goal that you guys would like to achieve one day with Gain Collective?
I feel like our dreams are always growing because they start like maybe small towards like what you can reach. And then once you accomplish that, then you're like, oh, okay. So I feel like even now, having only like fully launched for the past year and a half, we've done a lot of the things that were like our dream to do. But in the long term, I would say my dream has always been to choreograph for dance companies, contemporary dance companies, both nationally and internationally. And I'm very excited about the fact that like it's actually this year, like we'll keep it under wraps, but we are starting to do that, which is really exciting. Nationally, not yet internationally, but
we're almost there. Next year.
We'll see, you know. And then we just we love to create full-length works. So in terms of like if we could have any amount of money, you know what I mean, like it would be a dream. This to me, which is like funny, like maybe it shouldn't, it feels like a pipe dream, but it's like I would love to be able to employ a company like semi-regularly that dances for us. I wouldn't want to like hold them away from other projects in the way that is traditional for dance companies. Like I would want it to be collaborative in the sense that the hours are semi-flexible, so they're not just employed by us, but that we have them regularly to train, and then to be able to create like a full show,
like a full length,
like 1 hour long piece. You know what I mean? That would definitely be a dream for me, and I know that that's going to be what Emil says because he's always wanted to have his own dance company, so I'll pass over the mic.
Like one of the biggest dreams is to own a company that we are able to train with and also receive from. I think that just because you are running a company doesn't mean that you don't have room to actually like learn from like people that's around you and stuff. So it's kind of like really nice, and that's one of the biggest dreams that I always had, was to like start from like start a company, start a crew, start something and things like that, and just develop that. But like one of the biggest dreams also is what we currently living is that we are busy choreographing, we are creating work, we are trying to push our works to be for an hour at least, like just to create that type of like showcasing all the performances and stuff, and have a full length, like a full length
Yes.
work. Yeah, and I think like we actually heading forward into that spaces and into
That's
that
so
world
exciting.
and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for like the future and like everything that we are busy building and stuff, and like also like the people that surround us, because I don't think it's possible. I don't think it is possible without everybody that's actually behind us and supporting us. And like just even if it's like a small job, like it can be like, can you choreograph a 30-minute piece?
Yes.
Like yeah, of course we can
We'll do it,
choreograph.
yeah.
Yes. Like stuff like that, to about a 40-minute to 45-minute work. Like we
Yes.
get these huge broads of broader aspects of choreographing, and we're busy loving it currently. So it's just kind of like, it's hard to kind of like be like, oh, like in the next 10 years I want to be like this huge world
Yes,
tour
yeah.
choreographer, but I just want to kind of like develop that.
Yeah, you guys are
stages.
like open to take
Yeah.
on things. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like we're not in no rush. We don't want to choreograph a world tour show
Yes,
tomorrow.
yeah.
You like, we want to build to that experience. We want to like first learn how to choreograph for work here and like
Yes.
locally, and then like national, and then international, and then like
Yeah.
tour and stuff like that. And that's like one of my biggest like goals.
That's so exciting. I think it's also really beautiful that you guys are able to be like, I think our industry moves very fast paced, and there's a lot of pressure to be like, okay, what's the next big thing? Let's go, like next one.
Yeah.
And having like the maturity or wisdom to be like, it's actually okay to let yourself grow like one project at a time.
Yeah.
And at the moment you guys are working on Mantis, so I don't know if you want to give us tell us what that is all about, like how that process has been.
I'm gonna hand that over to Julie.
The drill sergeant is back.
Yeah, so Mantis was commissioned by Baba Yaya. So
Mhm.
it's original Baba Yaya contemporary production. And then Benji is the director who commissioned us for it. It's based off of the Khoisan mythology, the mythological figure of Mantis, who's basically a chaos god and also a creation god. And it follows his story through a bunch of traditional mythologies that we've sort of weaved together to create one cohesive narrative of evolution and creation across many different stages. So yeah, it's been really cool. So far it's the longest piece we've been commissioned to create, which has been really rewarding, as well as
Yes.
composing the music. And this the Cape Town performance has live singing, live
Oh, wow,
ceremonial
yeah.
clay, a lot of elements.
Yes.
And we first did it last month or the month before in Africa Burn,
Yes.
which was so cool.
Yeah, I can imagine that
It
must
was
have been insane.
really fun. Genuinely one of my top experiences as a performer, which was really
wow.
rewarding, and as well as a choreographer. But yeah, so we're really excited about that, and
Yeah.
it has so many elements in it, and it was such a joy to create and to work with the cast. The cast is basically a collaboration between Baba Yaya and Gain Collective. So Gain Collective, as in Emil and I, choreographing and performing, but also some of our dancers that we sort of work with and carry underneath our label, because they've worked with
Yes,
us
yeah.
several times and are
Yes.
aware, they know how to carry our movement style. And then Baba Yaya dancers who've worked with Baba Yaya for a long time. So there's 7 of us right now.
Oh, wow,
So it's
okay.
kind of a small cast.
Yes. As creative entrepreneurs, as yourselves, what is kind of 3 skills or 3 steps that have got you to be able to create Gain Collective? Is there 3 steps? Do you think for you it happened more naturally, or is it more of a mindset? You can kind of take it where you want to take it, what you think is the most valuable piece to be able to get to this point.
It is a bit of a difficult question for me, because I do feel like it's unfolded very naturally, and sometimes it is difficult for me to differentiate between business and just passion.
Yes.
Because so much of it is just the accumulation of passion, but and hard work,
Yes, yeah.
genuinely a lot of hard work. But yeah, I don't know, that's hard. I mean, we've put in many hours,
Yeah.
many hours of our own time, outside of work, constantly trying to develop and reach what we're striving for choreographically.
Yeah.
As a duo, we've entered so many things that never came to light, but that pushed us choreographically. So I feel like a
Yes.
lot of it is that work under the scenes, the stuff that no one really sees, because people see maybe 20%
Like
of
pushing
everything.
and willing to fail. Like you
You
guys have
know,
been willing to put yourself out there.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I would say that. I would also just say like our support system is really amazing. We have a lot of people in our corner that we wouldn't kind of be able to take maybe the steps that we've had without them, because we know like if you fall, like you have all of these people who are backing you.
They're gonna catch you.
Yeah, and who are gonna catch you. Like especially my parents have been like they're really passionate about what we're doing, and my dad is very business orientated, so he's always like trying to talk me through that.
Yeah,
I don't really have those skills. I don't really have those skills, but I'm trying. Yeah, I don't know. For me, that's all I can think of. Do you have more to say? You're a little bit more business orientated than me. Well, okay, wait, hold on. There's also the marketing.
Marketing. Yo, don't we love it?
And I feel like that is something that Emil and I both mutually enjoy to some level, especially as he's a videographer.
Yes.
So I mean, we haven't necessarily quite cracked it or the formula for it, but I feel like we're always sort of improving in that area. And it is something that does like inspire me how to show your choreography and what you're doing in a way that is like visually interesting and stimulating
that make
online.
people want to reach you guys more.
Yeah,
that
because
make you look twice.
Your Instagram is your CV, whether you want it to be or not.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a dance company, and I follow a lot of dance companies, and I'm very intrigued by the way that they show their work and the way in which they market and the way in which I, as a viewer, am drawn in. So I do feel like I do spend a lot of time. And we spend a lot of hours working on that.
Scrolling.
And like when it comes to marketing, like it takes forever. It takes so long.
Yeah.
Even just to like edit and get like a good post out there. And I think it's important.
It is.
If you want
100%.
to be perceived as professional, because unfortunately we live in a world that if you don't look professional online, people don't believe
Take
that
you
you
seriously.
are.
Yes, yeah.
Even though that's not accurate, it's just like it's something you got to sort of adapt to,
Yes.
which is kind of hard.
100%.
I think like the networking world is it really helps you, and just not networking like I'm trying to sell you my business, but networking as like friendships and kind of like getting genuinely to know people in the industry, whether it is like knowing a photographer, like have someone that you can trust that can photograph your work. And that would really help you in the long run. Or even like having a videographer, or like having a creative director aside of you, of like someone that you can actually really see as a potential person that can assist you. I think a lot of people like hands-on take on things themselves, but they forget that there are people in the industry that is actually professionals at what they do.
Community is everything. Hire people, give them like help each other out.
Like I've always thought to myself like not spending money is the best way not to actually lose money. And it's actually the wrong way of thinking. I think like spending money helps you see things like, holy shit, like this person knows exactly what they are doing.
Like you don't have to do all the extra 10 steps you would have had to do if you didn't hire them.
And I think like if you don't have the finances, like also communicate to people that you don't actually have the finances. I think like you get a lot of people that's also in their training, that is willing to actually like help and like assist and want to see you grow. We've stepped into a lot of like spaces where we had one photographer that helped us so much with our photography. We paid the photographer. We weren't like, no, we're not gonna we're gonna do a free photo shoot or whatever, but we said like, hey, like we don't have the most amount of money, or like we are able to like splurge out so much only. And like from there onwards, like he has actually developed such a great like portfolio
100%,
for himself and stuff, and like the dance industry started using him a lot and stuff.
That's so
but
cool.
It's like that type of thing where you are not, free work isn't always free work. It's also like that connection and that networking,
finding
and stuff.
that like balance between the two.
And I think like not all work has to be free, but I think there is also room, if you have room and space for yourself to actually like develop a portfolio, or rather don't break yourself but like
have
try
the humbleness almost.
like allow yourself to be like, oh, like this is someone that I really want to work with in the future. I would do like one shoot maybe for free
Yes,
or on a
yeah.
discount, and
Yeah.
like let them see my creative work, and then eventually 2 years down the line or a year or for like a few months down the
Yes,
line,
yeah.
that person is obviously going to contact you because they've worked
Yes,
with you
yeah,
before.
and they enjoyed you, yeah.
And that really creates that connection with people,
Mm.
and I think like that really helps the industry also. Like some people are always like, oh, it's damaging to do free work,
Yeah.
but it actually isn't. if you
Yeah,
actually
it's
think
just
about
finding
it.
the balance.
Yeah, it's finding the real balance.
One,
But yes, yeah, no, but that's so important.
don't be an asshole and be nice to people.
Yeah.
Very important.
2, keep an affirmations journal. Write down every time someone gives you a compliment and reread it constantly.
I love that. I love that.
3, find people you can build with, like Emil was saying. So you develop your own team,
Yes.
whether that be like dancers, photographers, where you're all building each other up within your career. Wait, I think that was everything.
Yeah.
Wait, I feel like I had a 4th one, but I totally forgot what it is. Those are fine. Those are cohesive.
Those are
there we
3
go.
beautiful ones. It's been so wonderful speaking to you guys here today, and all the knowledge that you guys have is so beautiful and inspiring, not only to me, but I can imagine for all like creative and dancers out there. And it is so important, the emphasis that I think you guys are putting on connection and being willing to just try and do things we can all take a bit of. So we really appreciate you guys being here today and working with us. If there's any last things you just want to end off with, any last closing statements, or just
Follow us on
follow us?
Instagram.
Yeah. Drop all the socials, just
At-
please. Drop all
At
the
Game
socials.
Collective. Yeah, come
At
and
Game
follow us.
Collective, everywhere. Follow them, support them. Thank you so much.